Meet Otto. He's a clean-cut kid in a dirty business. He repossesses cars. He's a repo man.
You gonna give me my car back, or do I gotta go to your house and shove your dog's head down the toilet?
His mission is to repossess a '64 Chevy, but hidden within its trunk
What you got in the trunk?
You don't want to look in there.
is the most important discovery in the history of our planet. Repo Man. It's a mystery.
Suppose you're thinking about a plate of shrimp. Suddenly somebody will say like plate or shrimp or plate of shrimp out of the blue. No explanation.
It's a comedy.
What are you doing? Don't do that!
It's a chase. It's the forces of law
Marlene, I'm on my coffee break.
against the representatives of discontented youth, against the finest minds in government.
I had a lobotomy in the end.
Lobotomy. Isn't that for loonies?
Not at all.
And they're all in pursuit of a '64 Chevy Malibu from who knows where.
Blam! Eyes melt, skin explodes, everybody dead.
Repo Man. The story of the ultimate repossession. Repo Man. Not just a job, it's an adventure.
Okay, welcome back to Dave's Movie Diary. I'm going to be talking about Repo Man from 1984. What a trip. I thought I'd seen this film a long time ago. After I rewatched it last night, I'm really not sure if I did or not. I think I would have remembered it. It's so different. Anyway, I've always been aware of its huge cult reputation. It gets referenced a lot in other conversations about film, and I thought it was time to tick that box. So I am a big fan of both the lead actors in this film, Emilio Estevez and Harry Dean Stanton. They're so entrenched for me with this time period in the mid-'80s. They were both having terrific periods in their acting careers. I was curious to see what this film was all about, whether it deserved its cult status, how it's aged, and whether the punk attitude that it's well known for still lands today. Quick plot summary. This is a bit of a silly exercise because the plot is not what this film's all about. It's about the feel. It's about the music. It's about just kicking back. Probably watching this when you're stoned would be better. But anyway, Otto, that's the Estevez character. He's a disillusioned punk kid in Los Angeles. He's just drifting through life. He manages to fall into the very strange underground world of Repo Men after meeting Bud, played by Harry Dean Stanton. For those who don't know, Repo Men repossess cars when their owners can't pay the bills. So while this is going on, while Otto's finding out about Repo Man and repossessing cars, breaking into them, there's a parallel story going on. There's a mysterious Chevy Malibu, something very, very odd in the boot of the car, and everyone's after this car in various ways. Some don't even know what's there, some do. So we've got Repo Men, we've got government agents, we've got criminals, and we've got some conspiracy-obsessed people. That's about as much of a plot as it's worth getting into. Actually, the film really just goes off on a few tangents at once. It becomes a real mix of punk satire, a lot of sci-fi weirdness, black comedy just oozing out of every pore in this film, and it's totally anti-establishment Americana, which at this point, this is 1984. If you think about where the US was at that point, that's coming up to the second Reagan administration. So the 80s were all big and glossy and capitalist dynamic, and it's inevitable you're going to get other forms of art, whether it's music, whether it's films, literature, pushing back hard against that Reaganomics feel that America had, corporatism, the dollar as the overriding concern. And that was especially happening in Hollywood at the time, so it's great that there were films like this coming out. Right from the get-go on this one, we know that we're in for a film that has instant punk DNA written all over it. The opening titles are great. We get these crude roadmap graphics, punk riffs blasting away, really stripped back design it all over the place. We know straight up this is anti-Hollywood. It's anti-slickness. It's proudly rough around the edges, probably not made for much money, and a rocking soundtrack. The other thing is, in 1984, MTV had been around for a couple of years. So the videos that were out there and that sort of feel to music was really, like I said, glossy, polished, commercial. Movies were kind of in the same boat. So this film is kicking back against both those dynamics at the same time. In the opening scene, we get this great start. There's this lonely desert highway. Mysterious car going along, gets pulled over by a highway patrolman. Looks like New Mexico or somewhere. You've got that scrubby desert look with Joshua trees, etc., etc. The cop insists that the driver opens the boot. He opens it up, all this light comes out, and he instantly disintegrates. All we're left with is his smoking boots left on the roadside. It's really weird, it's really funny, and it's unsettling at the same time, but the vibe is relaxed and chilled and like I said, charcoal black comedy. So as the audience, we know that normal logic is not going to apply in this film. It's really a whole bunch of vignettes put together, short stories. Some of them don't have any endings. You just sit back and enjoy the ride. What I felt when I was watching this is that if I did see this back in the day, and I probably did, I've just forgotten, it's got that real midnight movie feel to it. It's probably one of those films I watched maybe after I got home from a night out, or sort of was half watching it, listening to music, something else. It's got that late night VHS energy to it. It's, like I said, that watching it at 1 a.m. atmosphere, definitely a cult movie. It reminds me of a lot of movies that I watched in that late 80s, early 90s period, in my early 20s. I wasn't paying a whole lot of attention to a lot of those films. It was more the feeling they gave me. And I was usually around other people, and we were pretty chilled, or we'd been out all night, and we just wanted something in the background to laugh at and quote and be a background for what we were talking about. So it's good in that sense. It's really weird. It's anti-authority, slightly dangerous feeling. Really fits into the tradition of cult cinema. Definitely has punk satire, counterculture. That probably sums it up the best. Really good aimless youth film. The setting for it is sort of like grungy LA, warehousey district, industrial. Lots of chain link fences around, lots of concrete everywhere, nothing really going on. Perfect for the backdrop to this one. Emilio Estevez, I mentioned him at the top. Really, really strong part of his career. Obviously, son of Martin Sheen, brother of Charlie. He'd been in notably the Outsiders a couple of years, or the year before this actually. He makes this, then he makes The Breakfast Club. So he's really on a strong roll there, and getting a name for himself. Part of the Brat Pack, but he never, I don't know, for me, he never seemed too wild. He never seemed too dangerous. He was a really likable actor. Didn't have a great range, but just a likable guy to watch in films like this. And he went on to have a half decent career all the way up to the early to mid 90s, really, when he kind of his career flattened out a bit. But at this point, he had that Brat Pack fame. and he was in films like this that had a real swelling of support with teens and 20s. It's definitely the strangest role of his early career when you think about the role in the Breakfast Club, where he was the jock. He was one of the many guys in The Outsiders. So this role here is a really individualistic role that he sunk his teeth into and did really well. Now, the main man, Harry Dean Stanton, one of the all-time cult character actors in Hollywood. Been around for a long time, hung out with a lot of musicians. I think he is a musician as well. He looks like he's got a million stories. His face looks like a road map. He's got that Keith Richards kind of look and vibe to him. Ultra cool. He was having a great year in 1984, by the way. I don't know which one came out first, but he made Repo Man and Paris, Texas in the same year. Paris, Texas is another cult film, and he was brilliant in that. He really carries that film. That's a Wim Wenders film, I think, and it's worth a look. It's got the same kind of, I guess, underground feel to it as this one, but nowhere near as loose as this one. This is a really yeah, I should stop trying to describe this one. Real contrast between the performances that he put into these two films that he made in 1984. In this film, he's a real hustler. He's also a kind of a philosopher. He's got that classic Harry Dean Stanton deadpan cowboy kind of look. And he's the con man, I guess, mentor figure a bit. Even though these are repo men, they're kind of operating on the fringes of the law, doing some dodgy things. Contrast this with his role in Paris, Texas. In that one, he's a really wounded guy who's had a lot of trauma in relationships. He's trying to connect with his son and ultimately his partner. He's really vulnerable, very fragile, melancholic. The opposite to the character in this one, but they're both brilliant performances. He flies under the radar a lot, so it's worth recognizing him every chance we get. And there's a fantastic scene at the start where we first see Harry Dean Stanton's character, Bud, and he tricks Otto into helping him repossess cars. It's a classic little scene. Perfectly captures the film's worldview that everyone's hustling everyone. And even when the hustle's up and Otto realizes he's been hustled, it's like, yeah, so what? What are you going to do about it? A couple of other things I noticed about this one that are worth talking about. All the packaging of food and beer had a really interesting look to this. They're all generically labeled just with literally beer, food, oats. Some of them have a little description as well, but they've all got the same white packaging with really no-name kind of branding. And it seemed to me to be a real shot at the commercialization of corporate America. Everything's depersonalized, real punk ethic, corporate blandness. It's having a real shot at that the consumerism that was rampant in the US at the time. And it makes everything look really cheap looking, but oddly effective and really memorable. It stuck out for me anyway. So I thought it was worth mentioning. So the film to me felt like a kind of a collection of ideas, a real collage, chaotic, some strange scenes. Not all of them work. Heaps of weird conversations. It's definitely not a cohesive story. So if you don't like films that get from A to B in quite a linear structure, you'll hate this film. This is more for folks that really lap up the looseness of films like this, the anti-structure, the unpredictability, just the zany characters and the comedy. It's really shapeless and random, definitely quirky. Whether you think it's revolutionary or not depends on your tastes. Watching it now 42 years after its release. My take is that I didn't find it that revolutionary, to be honest. I definitely found it quirky, and I wonder if it hasn't aged as well for me as it maybe has for other folks, or whether they haven't seen it for a while. But I think if you'd watched it in the 80s or the 90s, it definitely would have had a much bigger impact with that anti-establishment looseness. I think that was a lot more radical back then. I mean, it was. I can remember films like this just weren't made that often. So I think today audiences are much more used to this ironic take on things, and there's the internet now. You can get absurdism everywhere, and this kind of fragmented storytelling, I think, was copied and used and even corporatized in an odd way. So I think the anarchic feel that this one had definitely doesn't carry the day now. So look, my final thoughts: definitely works best as a cult artifact piece, and a great punk mood piece as well. It's a real snapshot of underground 80s counterculture at that time. I wouldn't go into this looking for a traditionally satisfying film that has narrative and a linear plot and an A to B finish. It's undeniably original, heaps of attitude, memorable atmosphere. So even though I didn't connect fully with this time, I can completely understand why people became obsessed with it, and worth checking out. I think anyone who's really into films should check it out, just for Harry Dean Stanton, if nothing else. If you like punk music and a real loose vibe, even more reason to check it out if you can. So see what you think. As always, everyone's got a different opinion. That's why this stuff's really cool to talk about. All right, thanks for joining me again. Catch you next time.